So since we don't have in-person class on Wednesday, so I recorded this online lecture for you. So after that, you will have 2 small assignments to do during the weekend. Yeah, so let's get started. So today we're going to talk about some basic concept about user experience design before we move on to our second project. So user experience, or we call it UX in short, is all about how a person feels when interacting with or experience a product, whether it's a physical item, a digital device, or a specific system. So it's not just about whether something works or looks, it's also about how it makes the user feel during their interaction. So does the product feel intuitive? Is it enjoyable to users? And do it meet the user's needs without causing frustrations? So all these factors come together to shape the overall user experience. So in UX design, our goal is to ensure that users have a positive experience with the product we created, making their interactions as smooth as possible. So we often see that UI and UX mentioned together, and there is a popular job title called UI UX designer. So now let's talk about the difference between the UI, which means user interface, and UX, which means user experience. So let's talk about the difference between them. So let's use the ketchup bottle as an example. So the UI would include the label design, right? The shape of the bottle, the color, the texture, just everything that related to its appearance. And usually a glass bottle would have a nice appearance where it looks like it's designed to be attractive to shoppers. So on the other hand, UX means it's about how the product works and how the user interacts with it. So let's take the ketchup bottle as example again. UX would consider how easy it is to open the bottle, how smoothly the ketchup comes out. Usually, a squeeze bottle could improve the user experience of getting the ketchup out of the bottle, right? So the squeeze bottle works better than a glass bottle. So although the glass bottle might look nice, it has a nice appearance, but you have to shake it and you have to struggle to get the ketchup out. So which means it's a poor user experience. It's nice in UI, but it's poor in UX, right? So comparing to the glass bottle, the squeeze bottle has better user experience, has better UX design. So that's some difference between UI and UX. So for our project 2, we will be dive into how to develop an application that works well in both visual design and user experience. We're going to explore how to make a product not only looks appealing but also works well for the user. So you will also learn how to combine the aesthetics of UI with the functionality and ease of use that UX brings. So for the user interface, will be included like the field of visual design, right? The colors design and the graphic design, layout, typography. So if you already learned some knowledge in graphic design, you already have a fundamental in building a nice user interface, right? So for the UX, we're going to focus on how to build a smooth interaction design, how to make the navigation correct. We're going to talk about how you may build the wireframes, how to build a good information architecture, and also conducting the user research, right? So then let's talk about what does usually a UX designer do So actually, UX designer is just one of many job titles within the broader user experience field. So being a UX designer is not only focused on one area, right? So you might collaborate with other UX professionals who have diverse areas of expertise. You can see here are some example different types of designers. They can all be called as UX designer, right? UX is a big concept which divided into different fields, and they all working together on one project. Uh, so, uh, so usually let's talk about them. First, interaction designer make the product easy to navigate and simple for users to interact with. While the visual designer is responsible for creating the logos, illustrations, icons, uh, fonts, right? So, visual designer is very similar to graphic designer. And the motion designer is responsible for create smooth transactions between the pages on an app or a website or some animations on the page. While AR and VR designer is another field, right, which provide users with immersive experience. Mm, yeah. So UX researcher is responsible to explore the usability of the products, but they are usually what they do is they conducting the user interview, usability test, and to provide a solution to a real problem users are having. So UX writer may decide the writing labels for buttons and determine the tone of language used within an app or a website. The conversation designer built a real-world conversational behaviors into the interactions between the users and the app or system, like the Siri, right? You may communicate how you communicate with a product, how the interaction, how the conversation between a human and a product. The UX engineering is responsible for translate the design concept into the life, right? Make your concept come to life. And they will also examine if your design are technically feasible. Yeah, so as an entry-level designer, what you're going to do is you may have the skills in user research, which and understanding the people who use your product. You will learn about the information architecture, how product is organized and structured. And you will also be building the wireframing, which means create the basic outline or sketch of a product or a screen. Yes, and at last you will also build the final prototype, right? Prototyping is the early model of a product that demonstrates its functionality, and of course you will make your design into a high fidelity, apply the color, apply the visual elements. You will decide how the product looks, right? The appearance to user. While you will also practice the skill with presentation and critique, and you will learn how to work with other team members together. Yeah, so here comes with our first practice. So you are going to think about a poor user experience in your life. Yes, so for example, whenever you use you use an app on your phone, you want to create an account on the app, but you had no idea how to do next. That there is no button show you the next step, and you are unable to move forward or getting back. So that's a poor user experience. So a good UX designer should have the ability to predicting users' roadblocks and potential design missteps, right? So it means to predicting where users could face difficulties or confusion and addressing these problems before they become a issue, right? So that you have to predicting the usability problem before your product get launched. So that's what our responsibility. So another example, when people pulled the door handle, but the door didn't budge because you were supposed to push the door handle, but not pull it, right? As designer, we have to think about how to improve the user experience with the door so that we can easily exit or enter. You may also consider change the design of the label, right? You can make the push signage, the sign larger, right, than before to show it clearly to user, right? So that's a solution that a UX designer should think of. Yes, so here are some more examples. We can see those buttons, they are in a mess. They're a mess and they're not in a good sequence, right? So these types of design may frustrating users a lot, right? Because a good user experience should create products that are intuitive and easy to use. So a product should be designed to make the user feel a certain way. It has to follow the human's habits and behaviors, right? So how they display the buttons doesn't make sense to people, right? It makes people confused. So here are some examples of poor user experience. So for our first in-class discussion, so actually it becomes a weekend assignment, right? So you are going to make a post on Canvas. Just consider the thing you use every day, just something you're familiar with, but you think it's a really poor user experience. You find it's hard to use. It brings you frustrations, right? And you are going to talk about how has it been improved. But if it haven't been improved yet, you will talk about what you suggest, what changes would you suggest to enhance it, right? Just try to think about that, find a better solution for it. So you're going to write some notes to describe it and also post a photo or a sketches as examples if needed, right? So the ketchup bottle is a nice example, right? So the originally is a glass bottle, right? But it's hard to get the ketchup out, and after it has been improved it become a squeeze bottle, so it's easier for a user to get the ketchup out. So this is an example. So you are going to do a similar thing, right? To post the image and to describe it. So this is our first practice. So after talked about some poor user experience, let's talk about the good experience. So first, let's talk about the characteristic of good user experience. So it should have 4 characteristics: usable, equitable, enjoyable, and useful. So the usable means the design, the structure, and the purpose of the product is clear and easy to use, right? So as you evaluate a product for usability, you may ask the question like, if everything in the design easy to find, is the design's functionality easy to understand? Can users accomplish specific tasks within the design? So for example, this is American Airlines website, right? So the primary purpose of this website is to book a flight. So the design should provide a clear and easy way to complete that task. So we can see they put the book button on the homepage, so it's very helpful for people to book the flight in an easy way, right? So the way a product is laid out, the button, the way of their navigation is all related to the usability. So equitable means a design is helpful to people with diverse ability and backgrounds, regardless of gender, race, or ability. So this is also related to what we did for our kiosk project, right? So you're required to add some accessibility features for your design. So these features are help you to your help your product to be equitable for just for reach out to a larger group of people, right, and make everyone feels comfortable to use. Yeah, so when you evaluate the equity of a product UX, you can ask the question like, are the needs of the diverse group of users considered? So for example, the accessibility features might help people with hearing issues, and you're enable them. You should be make them able to turn on the live captions. Yeah, and also here's another example. The keyboard emoji list includes different skin tones and gender neutral avatar options, right? So people, no matter people with different background, they all can find their the emoji that can represent themselves. So that's a equitable design. So the enjoyable means the design reflects what the users may be thinking or feeling and creates a positive connection with them. So when you are using a shopping app, they should be providing you with the high quality image, right, to showing the details of the particular item. So that will bring user a nice, enjoyable user experience. So while in some websites such as Google, they provide you with the options to customize the appearance of your own account, right? So that's an enjoyable feature in the usability design. So the last one is the useful, right? So the useful definition is very easy. So the design intentionally solves a user problem that the designer has identified. So for example, all of us, we need to use the map app to help us find way, right? So that means the Google Map, the map app, they are useful thing. They are a useful product. If you got lost, the map tell you how to go home is useful. But if the app cannot find your current location or it cannot help you to find the way, that means it's not usable. It's not useful anymore, right? So if the item can help you to solve your problem, that is useful, right? So we can see there are some differences between usable and useful, right? So something is a useful product may not be usable, right? So sometimes a product, they eventually help you to solve the problem, but you feel hard, you feel struggling when you are using it. That means the product is not usable. Just like the glass bottle, ketchup bottle, right? So you eventually get the ketchup out. You can use it, but it's a useful product, but if you struggle, so it's not a usable product, right? So also some product is usable, but it's not useful, right? Some apps, they are in a really nice design, they're designed with smooth navigation, everything looks good, but not much people want to use it because they don't need that app. So that's usable, but that's not useful. So there are some difference between the two characteristics. Yeah, so for the weekend assignment, you're going to think about a website, application, or a system you feel that it provides a good user experience for you, and you feel like you are enjoy to use them, right? So you're going to discuss how its design reflects the characteristic of a good user experience we just covered in the lecture, right? How it designed to be usable, equitable, enjoyable, and useful, right? So you will include some specific image as examples for each characteristic, and you're going to post them on Canvas for the weekend assignment. So actually I got some example here. So this is food delivery app, right? You can say how you can just use 2 or 3 sentences to describe the why it's usable, right? You can say that some particular buttons, they just to help your navigation to be smooth. And they clearly indicate what will happen next when user interacts with them, the button you really like, right? So that's usable. So for the equitable, you can say the app allows you to change to another language, right? It's helpful for people who speak different language, so the design is equitable. And also the image in the app provide nice, they're in high quality, and they provide some nice details, so which is makes you feel enjoyable, right? So you can give another example of other features that make you feel enjoyable, right? Just anything you discovered in that product. And you can say the app is kind of useful because almost everyone, they need to order pizza, right? They enjoy using this app, and the app allows users to quickly complete this action, right? Yeah, so these are some examples. You don't have to write too much. You can just use 2 sentences for each characteristic, kind of describe them. Yeah, so this is about our weekend assignment. Yeah, so for the on Canvas, yeah, so we can go into the week 6. So this is where you're going to find both assignment, right? So actually they are all due by next Monday, so you got plenty of time for it, right? This is our first assignment we just talked about. This is our second assignment, right? You can reply it and just post them together, right? So that's all you need to do for the weekend. Yeah, so see you next Monday. Stay warm.